أهلا بيكم في The Lounge. موضوع حلقتنا النهاردة هنتكلم معاكم فيه عن صحة الكبد. مهم قوي ان احنا يكون عندنا مجموعة معلومات طبية. الحقيقة احنا بنحرص قوي في حلقات The Lounge ان احنا نقدم سلسلة مجموعة حلقات طبية، وده هدف منه ان احنا نقدم لكم شوية معلومات نحاول بيها نحافظ على صحتنا، لان زي ما انتم عارفين ان صحتنا دي او الصحة دي وزنة من ربنا لازم نحافظ عليها. لقوا مثلا ان مجموعة كبيرة جدا من الامراض بيكون سببها كمية ونوعية الاكل اللي احنا بناكله. احيانا ناس كتيرة بيكون عندها معلومات مش صحيحة ابدا، وبالتالي بيجي لها مجموعة كبيرة من الامراض. Tonight we have a topic about the liver health. How can we maintain a healthy liver, and how does alcohol consumption affect the liver? And also we're going to answer lots of questions related to the health liver. I will encourage you to join us tonight and send us your question on Slido hashtag. And let's beginning our episode tonight. And in the beginning, we would like to welcome our guest, Dr. and Professor Amani Zikri. أهلا وسهلا بيكي. أهلا بيكي ودكتور جيسون بحيري. Welcome our episode. Welcome for joining us tonight and give us your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. As I said in the beginning, we're very keen to inform everyone or the viewer to have lots of information about the health, our health. So we choose this topic tonight because many people have lots of concern and questions, and we would like to know more information about the liver health. In the beginning, I want to know where is the liver in our body and what its function. Okay. If people doesn't know what's the function exactly for the liver, yeah.
Thanks, Maggie. So that's a very good question to start with. So the liver is a very important organ, and it's a big organ. It's about 1.5 kilos in size. It's a big organ, and it sits in our tummy area on the right-hand side. And we often forget about the liver. So the liver is not one of those organs that anyone thinks about. Lots of people think about their heart or their lungs and other organs like that. But the liver is a very important organ. And it has hundreds of functions. So if we wanted to talk about the functions of the liver in a lot of detail, we have to spend a lot of time. But I'll summarize the main functions of the liver because the liver is a very, very important organ, and we should pay some more attention to the liver and liver health. So one of the key functions of the liver is it acts like a filter. So it filters the blood and it removes toxins and waste out of the blood. So similar to the kidney, so the kidney removes a lot of waste out of the blood, and the liver is the same. It removes a lot of the waste from the blood. In addition to that, the liver is very important in producing a lot of proteins that are important for our health to build up muscle strength, and also produces a lot of factors or clotting factors that allow our blood to get sticky when we have a bleed. So if we cut ourselves, the liver produces these factors which help that cut to clot up, to form a clot. That's some of the very, very basic functions of the liver, but the liver is very important for a number of other reasons.
Yeah. دكتور أماني، احنا عايزين نعرف الناس باختصار كده او بطريقه سهله الكبد فين بالظبط وهو وظايفه ايه، زي ما دكتور جيسون قال بالظبط، وازاي ان انا احافظ على الكبد ويبقى عندي فعلا كبد سليم، يعني اقول ان انا يعني عندي هيلثي ليفر. اتفضلي.
Okay. So زي ما جيسون قال الكبد في in the right upper quadrant. So هنا right. So it's not here. It's not here. It's here in the right upper quadrant. فأنا هترجم لك اللي جيسون قاله عشان كمان فالكبد من ليه وظائف كتير جدا مهمة. يعني هو بينظف الجسم من السموم، دي أول حاجة. عشان كده الناس لما بيجي لها فشل كبدي بتلاقيهم بيتلخبطوا وما بيعرفوش يركزوا وما بيقدروش حتى يعرفوا نفسهم أو يعرفوا الناس اللي حواليهم، لأن السموم راحت المخ. فعشان بينظف الجسم من السموم عشان السموم ما تروحش المخ والمخ يقدر يركز. وبعد كده حاجات تانية بيعملها ان احنا البالانس بين الجلوكوز السكر ان هو يكون مظبوط في الجسم. الكبد بيبقى مسؤول على الحكايه دي عشان الناس ما يجيلهاش هبوط في السكر او السكر عالي، فبينظم السكر كمان. وبعدين الكبد بيعمل بروتين، والبروتين ده مهم علشان وظائف كتير جدا، مش بس عشان المسلز بس كمان عشان يدافع عن الجسم عن الانفكشن and so forth. لما بيبقى الكبد مش شغال كويس فبتلاقي الناس بيجي لها انفكشن كتير، بيبقى متعرضه ان يجي لها انفكشن كتير لان ما عندهمش اميون سيستم. الكبد وظائفه برضه ان هو اميون سيستم لازم يدافع عن جسمنا. لما بيكونش شغال كويس ولا هينظف الجسم ولا هيدافع عننا، فالناس يجي لهم تلخبط، يجي لها مش قادره، يجي لها انفكشن كتير. فعشان كده الكبد لازم يكون هيلثي، واول ما بيتاثر كل عضو في الجسم بيأثر على المخ، بيأثر على الرئه، بيأثر على القلب، وبيأثر على الكلى. ففي failure in each of these systems لما الكبد يبتدي يقف كل الاعضاء دي كلها بتوقف.
يعني أنا في الحلقه ان شاء الله عايزين نتكلم بكل عضو ايه اللي لو حصل مشكله في الكبد ايه اللي ممكن ياثر على القلب زي ما قلتي او الكليه او
يوم. يعني احنا
يعني
مره عملنا
يعني
ماستر اسمها بنسميهم ماستر كلاسز، ازاي الكبد هيأثر على المخ وبعد كده وبيأثر على القلب وبعدين اللنج، وممكن دي تبقى اول برزنتيشن ان هو يبقى مشكله في اللنج بس تكون سببها
حاجه مشكله في الكبد.
So that sort of thing. So it regulates all these organs.
هل له علاقه بالكوليسترول مثلا؟
يعني it's one of it as well. Like you know, regulates also cholesterol. والكوليسترول ممكن لما يكون زياده يتعب الكبد. فيعني في what we call bi-directional relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. Jason, it's very common that many people have something called a fatty liver. Fatty liver disease, maybe many people doesn't know what's a fatty liver disease, what's the causes of the fatty liver as well.
So fatty liver disease is exactly what the name says. So your liver accumulates fat. And that happens when we have other problems. So it happens when we carry too much weight, when we're too big, we're too fat. That fat around our tummy area can go into the liver and cause fatty liver. So it causes deposit of fat inside the liver. But also when we have diabetes, or we have high blood pressure, or we have high cholesterol, all of these things increase the amount of fat that goes into the liver. And this is called fatty liver disease. And so now, because over the last number of years, 10, 15 years, a lot of us have started to put on a lot of weight, and a lot of us are starting to develop diabetes early in life and high blood pressure and other problems. So we're seeing a lot of fatty liver disease now, much more than we used to see before. And when the fat accumulates or deposits in the liver, that can cause problems down the track, can cause inflammation in the liver and scarring in the liver and other problems as a result of that. So the liver is like a bystander. It's being affected by the diabetes, by the high blood pressure, by the high cholesterol, by carrying too much weight around our tummy area, being fat. That's the cause of fatty liver disease.
يعني في many causes الحقيقه دكتور اماني حاسين ان هي very common. يعني ناس كتيره قوي overweight، ناس كتيره فعلا عندهم diabetes، يعني امراض very common. ضغط الدم العالي برضو زي دكتور جاسين ما قال، كلها حاجات ممكن تؤدي الى الفاتي ليفر. هل ممكن انا يكون عندي الكبد الدهني او الفاتي ليفر من غير ما احس ان انا عندي، يكون هو اوريدي عندي symptoms او هل في symptoms ليه ولا هو ممكن يكون silent fatty liver? What do you think? It's up to you. We can answer both English and Arabic. أنا حابة كل الناس تستفيد الحقيقة.
So the liver disease is silent. It's a silent disease. So unfortunately, what happens is often people have fatty liver, but they don't know about it for a very long time. Sometimes it can be many years before we identify this person has fatty liver disease. And the way we find out is very, very easy. So sometimes it's just a blood test that can tell us that someone has fatty liver disease, or an ultrasound test that can tell us someone has fatty liver disease. But in terms of symptoms, feeling something, no, it's a silent disease. And so that's why it's very, very important if someone has diabetes, high blood pressure, all of those things, or carrying too much weight, that they remember their liver. And they ask their GP to check their liver to make sure that they haven't developed fatty liver disease.
جميل قوي ان يكون عندنا معلومات عامه. انا اول مره اعرف برضو ان هو ممكن يكون فعلا اصعب حاجه ان يكون عندك مرض سايلنت، يعني ما احسش باي اعراض ولا حاجه بتوجعني ولا حاجه تعباني، بس it's very good زي ما حضرتك قلت ان احنا نعمل regular medical check. يعني اكيد الاور دكتور او جي بي الخاص بينا ممكن هو يعرف من خلال البلاد تيست العادي زي ما حضرتك قلت. تحب تضيفي حاجه دكتور امين؟
so زي ما جيسون قال بس هترجمها كمان.
اتفضلي. لا اتفضلوا يعني.
so basically so في ناس كتير عندها دلوقتي fatty liver without the nature of يعني our population. يعني ممكن 3/4 الناس اللي في الأوضة النهارده يكون عندهم fatty liver.
معقولة نسبة فعلا.
but it doesn't mean ان هو طبعا كل اللي عنده fatty liver هيحصل مشاكل. فلما بنشوف الناس اللي هم عندهم fatty liver وبنتابعهم، الناس اللي هي تحليل الكبد بتاعتهم بتفضل طبيعية في المتابعة ديت، معظمهم يعني they don't have any problems، ما بيحصلش مشاكل. الناس اللي بيحصل عندهم مشاكل لما يكون عندهم fatty liver اللي هم عندهم risk factors. الريسك فاكتورز اللي هي يعني add fuel to the fire. الريسك فاكتورز اللي هي السكر، ده اهم حاجه. تايب 2 اللي هو تايب 2 diabetes، الضغط العالي، زي مشاكل القلب بالظبط، الهاي كوليسترول. فلما يكون فاتي ليفر ومعاه حاجات من الريسك فاكتورز then there is an additive risk ان هو يحصل ان الكبد مشاكل اللي هو الكبد يتليف. so originally بيبتدي فات في الكبد، بس طبعا throughout the years in 25 years يعني لو احنا we did not address ال risk factors هيبتدي بقى يحصل damage في الكبد، بيؤدي الى تليف وبيؤدي الى كانسر في الكبد. يعني في الاول زي ما احنا ابتدينا كنا بنقول الكحول هو number 1 cause of liver disease. no longer الحكايه المشكله الكحول يس هو مشكله، بس الوقت اللي واخد الوضع الاول هو what we call fatty liver او metabolic liver disease fatty liver. ودوت علشان الاوبستي والسكر والمشاكل اللي هي ديت اللي هي منتشره في المجتمع. بس الحاجه اللي يعني مش عايزين ناخد كل واحد عنده fatty liver هيفتكر ان هو خلاص هيموت. الفاتي ليفر طبعا بياخد different direction، بس الناس اللي بيبقى عندها تحليل دم كويسه وعملوا الالترا ساوند فيها فاتي ليفر وتحليل دم كويسه وابتدوا اكسرسايز ولايف ستايل، كل دوت بيحسن الاوتكم.
يعني ممكن الواحد يكون عنده فاتي ليفر ولسه عنده دايابيتس ولسه عنده بيعاني من ضغط الدم، لكن يقدر يكنترول الفاتي ليفر، اقدر ان انا امنع المضاعفات
طبعا
ممكن تجيلي.
يعني هو في حاجه في جيناتكس طبعا بتاثر على المضاعفات. احنا مش يعني we don't understand the genetics 100%، بس في ناس بتعمل يعني في small proportion of people هيعملوا كل اللي يقدروا عليه ولسه بيحصل مضاعفات. بس لما السؤال يتسأل عامة لو احنا كنترول الدايابيتس وكنترول ريسك فاكتورز ممكن ده يقلل المضاعفات and the straightforward answer is yes.
جميل. Dr. Jason, we want to talk about the treatment of the fatty liver. Is there a complete treatment for the fatty liver?
Yeah, so the treatment of fatty liver is treating the risk factors, as Professor Zachary was saying before. So the way we treat fatty liver is we treat the diabetes, we treat the high blood pressure, we treat the high cholesterol. Once we treat all of these risk factors, we find that the fatty liver improves. Also, diet is very, very important. So we have to be very careful with the types of food that we eat. Not too much oily, greasy foods, so lots of healthy foods. That's very important. And exercise is very important too. And when we say exercise, we don't mean you have to go to the gym every day or anything like that. It can be very, very simple, like walking half an hour 3 times a week, something like that is the treatment for fatty liver disease. So it's very important to identify that we have this problem and then we can do something about it. So that it doesn't cause a problem for us later down the track. And so diet and exercise is very important, and then making sure that we look after ourselves. So we take our tablets for our diabetes, we take our tablets for the blood pressure.
And make sure that we eat the healthy diet as well as the medication as well.
And the Egyptian diet is not a healthy diet.
Exactly.
Believe me.
The healthy diet is a Mediterranean diet.
Exactly.
Like this is actually like Jason is trying to say, like, so there have been actually large studies يعني تحاول تحدد ايه الهيلثي دايت فور فاتي ليفر والريسك بتاعت الفاتي ليفر، لان فعملوا Mediterranean diet versus low fat diet versus Mediterranean low carb diet. Mediterranean low carb مش Mediterranean يعني تاكلي باستا 3 times a day. So it was Mediterranean low carb and they followed them up for about 3 أشهر. وبعد كده they measured the cardiac risk factors والfat في الليفر they measured all these indices ولقوا الناس اللي هم على الميديترينيان دايت اتحسنوا بكتير اكتر من الناس اللي راحت على اللو فات دايت including الريسكس بتاعت القلب. فكمان القلب اتحسن. فكان اسمه ميديترينيان لو كارب دايت. وبعدين دلوقتي في ريسيرش بيوري ان الميديترينيان دايت از انتي انفلاماتوري ضد الالتهاب. ففي يعني في ناس دلوقتي عندها ارثرايتس بتاخد ميديترينيان دايت لان في فيش كتير وفي اويل كتير and all these things are anti-inflammatory.
ميديترينيان دايت اللي هو ادينا امثله كده يعني
ولا يعني مفيش
اللي هو كله السي فود يعني
ما فيش اويل سالادز. So you know if you Google Mediterranean low carb اللي هو الاكل بتاع actually
قريب من المصريين
yeah but without the pasta.
Exactly, without the too much. Actually I've got lots of questions now. Can fatty liver be hereditary? Yeah, so it can be genetic or
So there is a genetic component to fatty liver disease. So some people do have the genetic component to it, but that's not the main factor. The main factor is the unhealthy lifestyle, like what we were saying before, not eating right or putting on too much weight. That is the number one. Above the genetics. So the genetics, even if you carry the gene, the genetics for fatty liver, you may not get it if you look after yourself. So that's why we always focus on the things that we can change, because that has the biggest impact. We know it has the biggest impact on fatty liver disease.
Actually, it's good news because we have control on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all have control. We can decide that we have a healthy lifestyle, and then we can avoid lots of problems, lots of fatty liver problems.
Because دلوقتي بنكتب grant على liver cancer. بنقول liver cancer is preventable or avoidable, like preventable. Like it's the only cancer that can be preventable by lifestyle, vaccination against the viruses and so forth. So exactly what you said, that we can actually prevent liver disease.
Yeah, it's a good we have this sort of information because many people doesn't know even the basic knowledge, and they can it's good to know some information, especially if you can do it for yourself. Can fatty liver affect other organs?
So يعني حاجتين نتقال الفاتي ليفر ممكن يحصل قبل الدايابيتس. يعني احنا بنقول الفاتي ليفر بيحصل الناس اللي عندها السكر، بس لقوا ان الفاتي ليفر ممكن is pre-diabetic. يتنبأ ان الانسان عنده فاتي ليفر هيجي له دايابيتس وهيجي له heart disease. اوكي and because دوت نمبر 1. فالفاتي ليفر ممكن يجي قبل الدايابيتس وممكن يجي قبل الهارت ديزيز، بس it predicts ده. طيب لو واحد عنده فاتي ليفر كانت affect other organ like you have to remember اللي بيسبب الفاتي ليفر اللي هو الهاي كوليسترول، هاي دايابيتس، يعني الشوجر هاي، الهايبرتنشن، وهي ديت نفس الريسك فاكتورز اللي هي بتأثر على القلب. فالناس اللي عندها فاتي ليفر في المراحل الأولى يعني المورتاليتي مش related to the liver. يعني الناس مش يعني مورتاليتي بالعربي يعني ايه؟ death الموت مش related للكبد. المورتاليتي actually related للهارت والستروكس. فده في المراحل الاولاني او قبل ما يحصل تليف في الكبد. فهي الريسك فاكتورز اللي هي بتاثر على الكبد اللي هي نفسها اللي بتسبب مشاكل في القلب، مشاكل في الكلى، ومشاكل في الستروكس. فمش الكبد يعني it's mainly the risk factors اللي
هي حلقه يعني هي الصحه دي عباره عن صحه الانسان
كله مرتبط
ببعض جسم الانسان بالظبط.
بس سبب الموت الاولاني فاتي ليفر از ريليتد للقلب وللستروكس. عشان كده لما حد بيجي عنده فاتي ليفر بنسال الدكتور الجي بي بتاعه ان هو يعمل له ستريس تيست يتاكد ان القلب كويس، لان هي بريدكشن ان هيحصل مشاكل في الكبد.
واول التيست ممكن اعمل بلاد تيست اللي ده اول حاجه ممكن اعرف بيها.
بلاد تيست بيبقى طبعا لما بيبقى تحليل كبد عاليه بنعمل حاجات تانية عشان نتاكد ان مفيش حاجات تانية موجوده. وممكن يبقى يعني حاجات يعني حتى لو في فاتي ليفر وتحليل فاتي ليفر على الالترا ساوند ستيل ده كود بي سبب تاني للليفر. فاحنا بندور على اسباب تانية، الادويه وده وبعد كده لما exclude everything ممكن نقول ده بس فاتي ليفر لوحده.
Another question, what food do you recommend for healthy liver and how much exercise per week per day? Do you want to talk about the Mediterranean?
We just answered اللي هو Mediterranean diet اللي هو mainly بيبقى fish. If anyone Google Mediterranean low carb diet, it's actually anti-inflammatory and anti يعني ضد الالتهاب، وبيبقى القلب بيتحسن عليه، الكبد بيتحسن عليه، والكلى بتتحسن عليه، واحنا هنعمل study هنشوف ان ممكن الدايت دوت يمنع الكانسر ولا لا في الكبد. فيعني دوت the best diet. بس طبعا the key thing ان هو يعني to have a good weight.
exactly. وده مرتبط برضه بالاكسرسايز، يعني جزء من السؤال اللي هو الاكل دايما مرتبط بالاكسرسايز، يعني you have to balance between the food and what you eat and the exercise.
And the exercise is 3 times a week 45 minutes.
Just
to cut it short. 3 times a week.
يا ريت فعلا كلنا يبقى عندنا الوعي ده، يعني حتى at least walking، يعني المشي ده اظن حاجه سهله جدا وكلنا لازم فعلا يعني نبراكتس. في another question, where can we come for free catch-up? Wow, it's a funny question. I have to say all the question actually, for honestly, but welcome in our program.
So we have Professor Zachary. We have a liver clinic at St. George Hospital, and we and.
It depends on the social catch-up.
It depends on the
And we both work in that clinic, but what we would recommend is you go see your local doctor first.
Exactly.
And they will do an initial checkup. And then if they find that you need, lots of the time the local doctors are very, very good. They understand a lot about liver disease and they can manage liver disease. But if they need assistance from us, we have a clinic at the hospital. And we'll be happy to help anyone who needs.
Thank you so much for your effort. Dr. Jason, this question for you. Someone asked you, are there any other ways for weight loss you recommend to diet and exercise? Does it work? And the liver is at high risk at stage. The liver is at a high risk stage. يعني if we say the liver at high risk stage, is there a recommended diet or food or exercise?
It's like exactly what we said before.
Can help.
So diet and exercise is number one and number one, okay? Before we think about any other treatment for weight loss. We always have to think about diet and exercise. And I feel that a lot of people, when we talk about diet and exercise, they become very stressed about this because they feel they have to do a lot of changes to make a difference. But actually that's not true. Small changes that we do every day can make a big difference.
In the long term.
In the long term. So as we were saying, 30 to 45 minutes of exercise 3 times a week, that's enough. Small changes to our diet. We don't have to, we throw out everything in the cupboard and start again, no. But we make small changes and we include some of these foods that we spoke about from the Mediterranean diet. This is the key thing. In order to lose some weight, even a few kilograms, like a few kilos of weight loss, has a big impact. So we don't have to lose, 15, 20, 30 kilos to have a result. Even a few kilos makes a big difference. So this should be the focus.
I'll just add on to this. So again, the study is 5% of, if you start 5% of your body weight, 5%, that starts normalizing the liver enzymes. 10 to 15%, it can reverse some of the fat in the liver. And just addition to what Jason is saying, there are patients that cannot lose weight and they are in a state where they have diabetes, they have high blood pressure, they have fatty liver, they have many metabolic risk factors. And we do refer them for weight loss surgery. So weight loss surgery is actually justified for patients who have many metabolic risk factors and cannot lose weight, and it could affect the long-term outcome. So it's one of the treatment strategies that we now use for fatty liver.
Another question. How does your liver function become compromised? Sorry.
So, do you want me to? I mean, your liver function becomes compromised when you have any cause of liver problem. So, if you have fatty liver disease, or if you drink alcohol, for example, or you have a virus, hepatitis virus, any of those causes will cause abnormal liver function. So liver function is not it doesn't tell us what the cause of the liver problem is, but it tells us that there might be some inflammation or some problem with the liver that we need to look into. And that's why I think it's important that we ask our doctors to check the liver function And then if there's a problem, we can look into that a bit more to understand what's the cause of that, and then we can fix that problem.
Okay, another question, what age should we consider getting a test for fatty liver? Is there a certain age? Or can come to the kids, for example, or...
So there's a study that was done around Westmead area, and they found 15% of adolescents in the school had fatty liver because of the problem of obesity. So
Children
that's
obesity,
adolescents. And a similar study was done in Perth, and again they replicated that about, which is 15%, and that's a high percent. If you think about them in 10 to 15 years time without intervention, these are the kids يحرم اللي هيجيلهم تليف. So I think in children especially it has to be taken seriously, like it's not a joke, to be honest, and that's a good time to intervene.
Yeah. Is keto diet can cause fatty liver? Because it's, keto diet means you have to eat a lots of fats. Is there any relation between? No?
No.
Okay. I think we're going to continue our question after the break. See you after.
Okay. Thank you.
See you one time after the break.
Thank you.
The king, he fell in fear, and with all of him he bowed as all of us we peer. And in his tears we heard him scream, "O God of gods, O King of kings, incline your ear, O Lord, and hear the cry of my people whose end is near." The king knelt down, the king, he fell in fear, and with all of him he bowed as all of us we peer. And in his tears we heard him scream, "O God of gods, O King of kings, incline your ear, O Lord, and hear the cry of my people whose end is near." And I, their king, can save them not, for I am only man if they forgot. But I remember this, and also their God, so incline your ear, O Lord, and hear the enemy waves its victory. Oh, hear them laughing and them mocking me. Surrounded I am as he stands tall in tears. I am the collection of all your failures and fears. Your hope is vain, the rest all failed. Why even try to surrender his name? Oh God of gods, oh King of kings, oh can't you hear them as they scream? So incline your ear, oh Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, my God, and see. Watch as your children troubled and toil, crying to the Father who told them all, just call one day and I will find you in the midst of all this mire. So open up your eyes and see how we bow here on our face in these. Save us, oh God, I plead, do not give up on us in our need. Let us not fall on our faces in front of the world, waiting for us to fail, but instead come, lift up our ails, fill us and be all that remains. Oh God of gods, oh King of kings, incline
Welcome back. We continue our talk about liver health. And thank you for all the viewers who send us a question on Slido. One of the nice compliments or nice words for Dr. Jason, it says here, I have to say it as honestly, Dr. Jason is the best. He fixed my liver. Shukran, Dr. Jason. So thank you so much. Another question on Slido. One said, my dad passed away because of virus C, hepatitis C. So can you talk about the hepatitis C and what's related with the liver diseases or liver? What causes? Yeah. اتفضل. Yeah. It's great stuff.
Hepatitis C, it's a virus that targets the liver, and unfortunately in the Egyptian community we have a lot of hepatitis C, and that's because of the vaccination program that happened many years ago in Egypt, so that led to a lot of people contracting hepatitis C. But it's not something that we should be afraid of now, because, and we'll talk about a little bit more about the treatments that are available for hepatitis C. But it's important that if someone has hepatitis C, that they don't ignore it, that they go to their doctor and they talk about it and have their liver checked, because hepatitis C, if it's left for many years, again can cause inflammation in the liver, scarring in the liver, and cirrhosis, so scarring of the liver. And so that's why it's really important that if we know that we have that problem, that we see someone and we get treatment for that and have our liver checked properly.
So is there a treatment هل في علاج فعلا لما يكون حد عنده
So the treatments now, they're very easy. It used to be that the treatments, Professor Zekri, she's treated a lot of people with hepatitis C, for hepatitis C, much more than me. But the treatment for hepatitis C used to be injections, which were very difficult for people to take, and they used to have to take injections for 1 year, and it makes them very sick. But now, over the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a big revolution and new tablets that are very effective to treat hepatitis C. So we can completely cure hepatitis C in 3 months with one tablet a day, with no side effects or very little side effects. So this is why it's important that in the past hepatitis C was difficult, but now hepatitis C is very easy. And it's very important that we encourage people to come and see us about that and get treatment for that to prevent problems later for them. But Professor Zekri can talk about hepatitis C treatment more than me.
If you want to كلمينا شوية عن hepatitis C treatment.
It's exactly what Jason said. So طبعا كان المصريين or the Egyptian have the highest percent in the world. 20% prevalence of hepatitis C in Egypt. بس الوقت طبعا أحسن بكتير لأنهم they made the treatment available for the Egyptian. So the actually country Egypt is going to be one of the first countries that's going to try and
العلاج ده موجود في مصر. بدأوه في مصر.
And actually the meeting, the WHO has criteria to get rid of hepatitis C, and Egypt among the first countries اللي هي will meet the WHO criteria because they made the treatment available for the Egyptians for free. But just say as Jason was saying, المشكلة ابتدت في مصر vaccination during schistosomiasis, during bilharzia. So they used to go to the village to get rid of the bilharzia and vaccinate everyone with the same needle. And so during the vaccination program they got rid of bilharzia, but they introduced hepatitis C. And then hepatitis C basically became completely embedded in Egypt because blood they give their blood and all the so هو بيتنقل بالدم أهم حاجة الدم. So that's the key one. So نفس الحقنة نفس فرش السنان, anything that has blood is the main way of transmitting hepatitis C.
مشكلة وعي يعني طبعا هي طبعا اكيد دلوقتي الوعي اكتر والمعلومات اكتر والناس بقى عندها فهم فعلا في
بالتاكيد طبعا لان في ناس كتير طبعا ماتت من هيباتيتس سي كتير جدا مصريين عانوا وماتوا من هيباتيتس سي قبل ما العلاج يظهر فكان number one cause of death يعني among lots of Egyptians.
Dr. Amani, let's talk about what's a liver cirrhosis and what's are the different causes for it.
So liver cirrhosis is basically, I'll say it in Arabic and English.
Yeah.
It's يعني the end stage
Yeah.
of الانجري في الليفر. ففي الأول بيحصل inflammation in the liver, and inflammation like imagine يعني عندك scar and ملتهبة, but you keep scratching it, you keep scratching it. So what's going to happen? A scar will form, a big scar will form. For the same thing in the liver, there is an inflammation happening, and we're not stopping this inflammation, so it's cirrhosis. التليف هيحصل.
So complication يعني يعتبر
It's a
complication.
stage. So if we can
stage.
actually stop the inflammation, we can actually stop the cirrhosis. So if we, even when you get to the cirrhosis, a scar, a big scar in the liver. So the liver, instead of becoming like nice soft organ, it's now a very scarred fiber organ. And unfortunately, طبعا زي ما قلنا في الأول, as Jason said, that all this can happen without any problem, without causing and without any symptoms. And أول presentation تكون liver cancer or liver failure.
يعني الليفر سيروسيس ملوش أي symptoms
nothing at the
يعني.
beginning. لأنه في الأول بيبقى اسمها compensated cirrhosis. Compensated من مع إن الجسم فيه تليف كبد, بس الكبد قادر يعوض the needs of the body. فالناس مش بتحس بحاجة. وكان دوت للأسف حاجة صعبة, لأن في ناس كتير رفضت إن هي تاخد الهيباتيتس سي تريتمنت, إنك تقول لك أنا مش بحس بحاجة, I'm feeling healthy. وتحاولي تقنعهم إن عندك تليف كبد, لو أخذت العلاج ممكن يعالج. no, I feel good. فللأسف لأن الكبد مش مسبب مشاكل, في ناس كتير تفتكر خلاص أنا مش محتاجة علاج لأن أنا I feel okay. بس دوت الكومبنسيتد فيز. فأما بنخش بقى decompensated, يعني خلاص الكبد مش قادر anymore to make up the needs of the body, فخلاص فشل, فيبتدي صفرة, مية على البطن, مية في الرجلين, تلخبط, دوت يحصل.
لكن الكبد نفسه كأورجن ما بحسش فيه نوع معين من البين مثلا, أي حاجة حتى مهما كان على الستيج الأخيرة.
in the majority of cases لما بيبقى فيه تليف بالعكس, لأنه هو بيصغر. لأن هو بيكون متليف يعني كله سكار, فبعد ما يكون كبير يبتدي يصغر لأنه خلاص بقى فايبر. الناس ما بتحسش بحاجة لحد لما يبطل الشغل خالص, وبعد كده بقى تبتدي complication هي اللي بتخلي الناس تيجي المستشفى.
في أورجن تانية كمان.
فطبعا أسباب التليف زي ما قلنا هيباتيتس سي, هيباتيتس بي كمان, في بي منتشر, والبي ليه فاكسين وممكن ينتهي من العالم لو الناس كلها أخذت الفاكسينيشن. يعني هيباتيتس سي ملهوش فاكسينيشن, بس الهيباتيتس بي ليه فاكسينيشن. بقى هيباتيتس سي ليه علاج زي ما دكتور جيسون كان بيقول, 1 tablet for 8 weeks. انتهى 8 weeks. فيعني nothing better than this, يعني less even than 3 months. 1 tablet for 8 weeks, you can get rid of the virus now. So and طبعا في مشاكل تانية زي ما قلنا, الدهن على الكبد والسكر, وده كله ممكن يعمل تليف في الكبد. فالتليف ده نتيجة حاجة تانية, هيب سي, هيب بي, non-alcoholic alcohol and so forth. وممكن نمنعه, وحتى لما بيحصل ممكن نرجع الكبد في حالة نمنعه من ان هو to progress further. ان هو more complications, so we can do this.
هي نرجع برضو للبداية الأولانية. أنا لو خدت بالي من اللايف ستايل اللي أنا عايشها وطريقة الأكل والرياضة اللي أنا بمارسها, كل ده مش هيحصل كل المضاعفات اللي ممكن توصلني للليفر سيروسيس أو تليف الكبد بعد كده.
I think in it كمان يعني I think it's important ان احنا to raise awareness, ان في ناس بتروح الجي بي وبتاخد الضغط وبتاخد check the heart, يعني check the diabetes, بس ما بنعملش attention ان احنا نعمل check للليفر تيست, يعني نعمل تحليل دم للكبد, وبعد كده لما تحليل الدم يكون عالي شويه ممكن نقول it's not too high, يعني نهمله. فاكشلي this is the time المفروض لما تحليل الدم زي ما بنشيك البلاد بريشر, زي ما بنشيك الدايابيتس, زي ما بنشيك القلب ونعمل ستريس تيست, تحليل دم الليفر تيست ممكن ينقذ حياه.
بس هو انا لما بروح للدكتور اقول له انا عايزه اعمل لي ريفيرال لبلاد تيست, هل انا بطلب منه حاجات ولا هو الدكتور اللي بيبقى عارف؟
طبعا
يعني
الدكتور بيبقى عارف, بس يعتمد على الريسك فاكتورز بتاعتك. لو عندك دايابيتس طبعا دوت will be something that لو في obesity, لو في not feeling well, so that the GP is no one.
He knows. طيب, is there any treatment for the liver cirrhosis أو تليف؟ في أي treatment ليه نقدر نقول خلاص تنهي؟
treatment يعتمد على السبب. فالسيروسيس ده complication للسبب. ف we have to find السبب وبنعالج السبب, ولو عالجنا السبب في وقت صح ممكن we can reverse السيروسيس. We can actually reverse liver cirrhosis. يعني مش هنرجع الكبد 100% better بس we can improve it to a degree ان هو ما يتقدم اكتر من كده.
في ناس عندها فكره ان مجرد الكلمه دي تخوف، يعني
no.
الكلمه دي يعني خلاص الموضوع انتهى، ان انا كده وصلت لاخر ستيج في الكبد. فبرضه it's good news ان احنا نحاول نبريفنت the liver diseases and complication, and we try برضو عندنا some hope ان حتى لو حد بدأت عنده مشاكل زي كده ان هو هيبقى فيه يعني treat ممكن قوي. في one question بيقول can you injure your liver, is that possible?
You can injure your liver from there are lots of things that can cause an injury in the liver, but the liver is very, very good at recovering from those small injuries that happen. One of the things that can injure the liver is medication. So often we see certain medications, very, very strong antibiotics or supplements that we get from the chemist, over-the-counter herbal type supplements or vitamins, other things, if we don't check with our doctor first. Some of those things can cause a little bit of injury to the liver, and we can see that on the blood test. So when you have a blood test, again, we were talking before, the liver test, blood test, you can see that the liver was a little bit injured by this problem. But when you remove that problem, the liver has a very good way of recovering very quickly. So it can take injury and recover very quickly as long as we identify that injury and we remove the problem that's causing the injury. The liver can recover from that.
يا دكتور جيسون قال معلومه مهمه قوي ان السبلمنت او الميديكيشن او الادويه اللي احنا بناخدها مثلا، اقف عند النقطه دي مهمه قوي، لان في ناس كتيره فيري كومن عندها تاخد اللي هو الاوفر ذا شوف السبلمنت اللي ممكن تعمل ايه ديتوكس او كلين ذا ليفر او الحاجات دي. قول لنا بقى المعلومات دي صحيحه ولا غلط ولا كوميرشال ولا ايه بالظبط يعني؟
100% commercial.
It's commercial. It's commercial.
Kill it.
Yeah. So this liver detox, all of these things, when you go to any herbal shop or vitamin shop and you see a box that has liver detox on it, stay away from that. That's just a money-making scheme. It does not do anything to improve the liver, and actually it can cause...
Can be harm? Yeah,
it can harm the liver.
Oh, okay.
And it can harm the liver in a very dangerous way, because these vitamins and supplements, they haven't been tested well like the other medications. So the medications that we take for diabetes or high blood pressure, the common medications, they have been tested and we know their effect. But some of the herbal medication or liver detox and other things, they haven't been tested the same way. And so they can cause problems, particularly with the liver. So we advise everyone strongly, please don't take any of liver detox or herbal things that you're not sure. Always check with your doctor before you take anything like this. Has no benefit.
Okay. What about the vitamins? Yeah, many people used to have as a multivitamins.
Yeah.
Is it good?
So multivitamins are okay, but sometimes it's important to know what's in this multivitamin, because the label may have multivitamin, but actually it's more than that. So it's important to always check with your local doctor and say, I'm taking this multivitamin, is this okay? Yes or no? Okay. Some vitamins are okay, but we just have to be careful about those.
And the quantity
things.
as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course, all of it. في another question بيقول does stress causes fatty liver؟ يعني stress ممكن له علاقة بالfatty liver ولا ملوش؟
If it makes you eat.
ممكن ناحية تانية يعني هو ممكن indirectly يعني الستريس فعلا هو الأكل هو مشكلة حياتنا كلها، هو سبب كل الأمراض اللي احنا. هل فيروس سي وراثي؟ لو جاوبنا على حاجة، هل هو وراثي ولا؟
It's very important to understand no. لأن في ناس كتير كانت بتسأل can the mother pass, if the mother has hepatitis C, can they pass the virus to the child? And the straightforward answer is no. Sometimes طبعا بيحصل during delivery بيحصل فيه blood يعني بيحطوا for the children, like monitoring the baby with some needles and so forth. But the straightforward delivery, no. So we don't advise on cesarean section for mothers who have hepatitis C. The only time transmission can عالي من المother to children was in the mothers who were co-infected with HIV and hepatitis C. But hepatitis C alone, the mother can deliver normal. The mother can breastfeed during hepatitis C, not a problem. There is no transmission in this situation. And so it's not congenital in that sense. What happened, however, you can find people in the same house have hepatitis C, but because they're sharing the toothbrush or the razors, so there is blood exposure. But if you share the same spoons and the same plates, not a problem, but it's the blood exposure that can have many people in the same house with hepatitis C.
في question in Arabic بصراحة أنا بصراحة مش فاهمة قوي، بس أنا ممكن نوضح نقطة المياه اللي في الجسم وسببها. هل في حاجة اسمها كده؟
I think she means ascites fluid
Maybe,
أو swelling في الرجلين. I think that's what it means. فطبعا دي ليها أسباب كتير. طبعا الكبد لما بيفشل دوت ممكن يكون سبب منها. مشاكل في القلب ممكن تعمل مياه في المية، مية في الجسم، مشاكل في القلب، لا القلب مش شغال كويس، ومشاكل في الكلى. فيعني 3 things. وفي ناس كمان لما بتبقى عيانه جدا والبروتين بتاعها بيقل جدا، بيقل جدا لان هم بقالهم كتير ما بياكلوش وكانوا عيانين لمده طويله، ممكن يحصل ميه في الجسم عشان البروتين وطي خالص. بس هي مشاكل الكبد، مشاكل القلب، ومشاكل الكلى، ولو بروتين عشان في malnutrition ممكن دوت يحصل.
Dr. Jason, في another question. I have normal liver function currently, but I have cholesterol. My cholesterol is high. What is my risk of liver damage if I have ongoing high cholesterol?
It's a small risk.
Small risk.
Yeah, it's a small risk, but it's very, very hard to tell, because when we don't look at one thing by itself. We look at the person as a whole. So we don't look at just the cholesterol. We look at the person so whether are they carrying extra weight, yes or no? Apart from the cholesterol, do they have another problem like diabetes or high blood pressure that's not treated, yes or no? So we never just take one thing and focus on that. We look at the whole person. That's very, very important.
Okay.
But overall, when you have one thing, the risk is low. One risk factor, the risk is low. But still, it's important to treat that problem. We shouldn't let that high cholesterol go on and on, because it might not affect the liver, but it can affect it can affect the heart or other organs. So we don't like to leave these medical problems without any treatment. That's not a good idea.
Exactly. I have been on medication for 1 year that causes liver damage. Can it still recover?
It depends on the amount of damage at that time. So طبعا it depends on the. ففي ميديكيشن اسمه ميثوتريكسيت اللي هم الناس كتير بتستعمله الارثرايتس.
وهتفضل تستعمله على طول يعني هو بيبقى ongoing
we try not to. بس لو في طبعا مش medications عملت damage للliver, we try and stop this medication or switch it to something else. So that's our strategy.
I want to move to something else like liver cancer, because is there a liver cancer? What's the causes and symptoms as well?
Okay.
You can both talk.
So يعني من الحاجات المهمة ان احنا ونلفت النظر للليفر كانسر لانه ابتدى ينتشر في الكوميونتي بتاعنا. فانا I'm happy ان احنا بنتكلم في الموضوع ده، لأن لازم increase awareness إن الليفر كانسر ابتدى ينتشر في الكوميونتي because طبعا مشاكل السكر ومشاكل هepatitis C ده كله منتشر في الكوميونتي بتاعنا. وللأسف again liver cancer ممكن ما يسببش أي مشاكل لحد ما يكون في الادفانسد ستيج.
ما يحسش برضه silent برضه.
احنا لو اكتشفنا الليفر كانسر في المراحل الأولى ممكن نعمل جراحة نشيله وده كيوريتيف، ممكن نعمل ليفر ترانسبلانت وده كيوريتيف. بس للأسف في معظم الناس بنكتشف ليفر كانسر في وقت ولا نقدر نعمل جراحة ولا نقدر نعمل ليفر ترانسبلانت. فبيبقى التريتمنت بيبقى عشان بس نطول العمر بس مش عشان نشفي الكانسر. بس احنا لو اكتشفناه في الأول ممكن نشفيه. وانا يعني I feel very strong about this ان people لازم تبقى be aware of the liver health، لان liver cancer ممكن يبقى very preventable. الحاجات اللي احنا كنا اتكلمنا عليها وجيسون اتكلم عليها ان احنا look after our liver our health ونعمل checking للبلاد تيست. لو البلاد تيست بتاع الليفر high والناس عندها سكر وعندها كوليسترول لازم we have to take it seriously. because otherwise the disease progress silently. and للاسف بيجي في الاخر في مراحل الاخر لما بيجوا لنا بليفر كانسر ما فيش حاجه بنعملها غير ان احنا يعني نحرق ده بس ما بنعملش curative therapy.
بس chronic disease دي some people just take the medication to be controlled. Is it okay enough؟ يعني الدايابيتس هل ممكن الانسان ممكن يخف فعلا من الدايابيتس او blood pressure؟
No, I don't think so. I think طبعا هو طبعا في bariatric surgery for instance, weight loss surgery or weight loss per se has been shown to reverse diabetes, to reverse cholesterol, to reverse all this problem. So there is a component which is curable. So we have to accept this. يعني ممكن تخف. There is a component which is curable. الناس اللي بيحصل لها تليف في الكبد حتى لو خففنا السكر والكوليسترول وكده والكبد تتحسن we still monitor them. لأن لسه الليفر كانسر risk is about 10 to 15%. So we still بنعمل مرتين في السنة ultrasound. So 6 monthly ultrasound. فبنعمل what we call screen for liver cancer. يعني في ناس بتروح للدكتور عشان تشوف السكين بتاعها فيها نقط ميلانوما ولا لا. أنا بشرح لهم بنفس الطريقة. You have to go and get an ultrasound every 6 months, twice a year. فلو لحقنا الليفر كانسر في أوله ممكن نعمل عليها حاجة. فطبعا احنا مش ممكن نخفف التليف. الليفر كانسر بيحصل عشان فيه تليف. اوكي
فالليفر بعد التليف انا لازم يحصل
الليفر كانسر بيحصل في التليف بس في كومبوننت في ناس في small percent of people ممكن تحصل من غير تليف ودوت في الفاتي ليفر بس معظم يعني say 99% بتحصل في الكبد المتليف. فاول ما الكبد متليف حتى لو اتحسن بنتابعهم وبنحطهم على screening program for liver cancer. We have to. That's the key thing to know.
Someone said what are your favorite parts of the liver? Maybe هو سمع كتير بنتكلم عن أمراض فعايز يعرف what's a favorite part. I don't know what he means by favorite part or maybe the good function, maybe like
I think liver health is, I will just say it's very, very important and the liver is very, very interesting. It's a very, very interesting organ and it's a very underappreciated. Like we don't spend enough time talking about the liver or focusing on the liver and liver health. So I'll just encourage people to be more thoughtful about.
Exactly. في question بيقول برضه احنا جاوبنا عليه بس احب اقوله تاني هل التليف الكبدي يمكن علاجه اللي عنده سيروسيس ممكن
احنا بنعالج السبب اللي عمل تليف الكبد بس once يبقى في تليف كبد بنحط كل الناس على حاجه اسمها surveillance program for liver cancer. اي حد جاله تليف لازم كل 6 اشهر يعمل ultrasound علشان لو في اي طول عمر لان الناس بتقول لي خلاص 2 3 ما عنديش كانسر بقى ممكن ابطل. لا you have to keep doing it all for the rest of your life.
Dr. Jason, I'm very fat and cannot exercise. Can you do a fat operation for me? It's a suggestion. Maybe he's joking.
I think that's probably a joke.
But it's a good recommendation for anyone who has overweight to have like a bariatric surgery because it's very successful and the treatment for many. Exactly.
Experts in doing the surgery. So. It's within the family.
Another one says, where can I find more information about the livers? They're more interested now to know more about it. If anyone would like to know more information about the liver and the causes, is there any?
There is a Gastroenterology Society of Australia, which is GSAC, Gastroenterology Society of Australia. There is a section related to the consumers, and there is lots of information there about liver cancer, liver disease, hepatitis C, fatty liver. And some information sheet. So you just have to look for the Gastroenterology Society of Australia.
But لو حبيت ان انا اعمل summarize للحلقه النهارده هنتكلم ايه؟ عايزين نكتب دكتور جيسون تكلمنا على one point and دكتور اماني very important 2 points. We can summarize the episode tonight.
Jason wanted to talk about his research as well.
I think to summarize, it's basically to say that awareness is very, very important. Awareness is very, very important, and we need to, when we go to our local doctors, we need to remember our liver and not forget about it. And we need to look after our general health. When we look after our general health, we find that the liver is healthy. So when we look after our weight, we look after what we eat, we treat the problems that we have, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, when we follow the recommendations from the doctor, we tend to find that the liver is healthy as a result of that. So I think that's the main thing. And also, I think the other point that I wanted to make was to say that the liver is it's a very resilient organ. There's lots of good treatments available. And we don't want people to be scared of liver problems. We are now very advanced when it comes to liver disease. We understand liver disease very, very well. And there's lots of treatments, but it's important for us to seek these treatments and not just ignore them. I think that's very important.
Yeah, Dr. Amani, what's
the first thing I say, I thank the Lord from my heart that we found treatment for hepatitis C. And I always believe this is because of the prayers of, the monks in Egypt.
Yeah.
So, because I never thought that I would live to see that we will find treatment for hepatitis C using one tablet. Like I've treated so many patients with the toxic treatment that was available until 2006. And then after 2006, the revolution happened and one tablet could cure the liver. And I could only lift my heart and thank the Lord that He allowed us to have this discovery. And as you know, that benefited lots of our brothers and sisters within the community. So that's number one. So I think really to thank the Lord. And number two, we are what we eat. So remember this.
Actually, very good point. Actually, we have to thank the Lord every time, because sometimes when we hear about the disease, we get like scared or maybe anxious or about it. But on the other hand, we need to remember God's blessing in our life. He gave us the wisdom and He gave us the knowledge and gave us the science and the medication and the medicine to treat everything. So we have to rely on Him at the end. At the end of this episode, I want to thank you, Professor Amani Dikri, so much, and Dr. Jason Tahiri. Thank you so much for all the information you have given us tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
في نهاية حلقتنا النهاردة الحقيقة أنا أشكركم جدا متابعتنا النهاردة، وزي ما فعلا أنا نفسي استفدت إن الهيلثي لايف ستايل that's the key of the healthy life. أشوفكم الحلقة الجاية of the Lamb. Thank you.